Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us. You're joining us today for a fun and uplifting session where you'll learn how to create more space in your body to breathe and maybe sing a little bit better too. Carrie Keller brings over 30 years of singing experience and a passion for helping others tap into the power of their breath. Whether you're a singer, someone with vocal challenges, or just want to boost your lung capacity, this session is for you. Come breathe, laugh, and maybe even belt out a note or two with us. A little bit about Carrie Keller. She's been singing for over 30 years and was a professional singer for over 20 years. She's been classically trained and over the last few years dedicated to put her own vocabulary on the technique to teach it. While doing so, she recognizes that the practice can not only be beneficial for singers, but for people who have had vocal issues or just want to increase lung capacity. One of her goals is to strengthen the lungs to bridge the gap between functional to optimal internal sound production. And at this point, let us introduce Carrie Keller, coming
Hi,
live from Chicago.
live from
Thank you.
Chicago,
And an
Chi-Town.
hour earlier. Thank you, Kelly. Carrie.
No problem. Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and share with everybody. So basically, it's amazing because everything that I'm all about was just said in like 2 minutes. But let me just go back and rewind a little bit and explain to you a little bit about my background. So when I first started singing, I had absolutely no breath whatsoever. I would breathe from, it felt like right here all the way up. And I didn't have any capacity to hold out notes. I felt like I was consistently trying to catch my breath. And I didn't quite understand why that was happening. I had asthma on top of all of this. So I'm an asthmatic who classically sings. And this technique that I'm going to show you a little bit about today can absolutely help benefit you, not just to sing or if you want to be an opera star or whatever, like that's all well and good. But I realized through my practice that it has really helped me when I was feeling under the weather, when I was feeling like I was very fatigued and I didn't have enough energy to, to grab a great breath and to just breathe. Honestly, it just helps in general. So another disclaimer I would have is I don't want anything that I show you today to be hurting or uncomfortable or anything like that. Now, it is going to feel different. It's going to feel different than what we normally do when we breathe. Because a lot of times we're not taught to breathe, right? It's just something innate. It's something that just happens. But if you see babies breathing or anything like that, they use their entire body, their whole torso to breathe, as opposed to just a very small amount. I feel like life kind of happens to us, and any kind of trauma that we've had or any kind of uncomfortable feeling that we have in our body, our physical selves, it affects our breathing completely and totally. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. I think almost every human can relate to that. So what I want to do is the goal of this today is to stretch a little bit on the inside. So what it's going to feel like is it's going to feel like a little bit of physical therapy on the inside of your body. So when you exercise the outside of your body, you can see muscles moving and you can see things happening. But when you exercise on the inside and you create space on the inside, it's a little different because we don't have access to those muscles without making some sort of weird allowances like noises. So I'm going to be asking you to take a breath in, hold, and there's going to be some silly kind of noise that goes along with that sometimes. That's okay. We're all going to be doing it together, so no one has to feel like that's uncomfortable for them. And if you don't, just mute yourselves. That's okay too. So going back to my breathing, I decided to take voice lessons because I wanted to act and sing. That's what I wanted to do when I was younger. So my teacher, I had a few teachers and they didn't work out so well, but my one teacher was, or is still currently, a classically trained opera singer. And she taught me how to use my breath in such a way where it's like holding it down while I'm breathing at the same time so that I create an internal stretch from the inside out. And I never really understood it because a lot of times she would just tell me to do things and then I would do it. But what I want to do right now is I want to explain how I visualize breath. Excuse me. So from here to here is clearly your torso. And this is where, here's the real anatomy. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I visualize it internally. The real anatomy is you have your lungs, you have your rib cage. All of this expands when we have our diaphragm on the bottom here, squeezing in. When we take a breath in, we inhale, the diaphragm squeezes in and up, and the lungs expand. As we breathe out and exhale, we collapse all of this. This is how we create breath on the inside. What happens is if we take a quicker breath and a more forceful breath, we create more tension in our diaphragm, and it's almost like it creates a bigger vacuum that goes down. So the quicker and the faster we inhale, the tighter our diaphragm is and the bigger the vacuum of breath and the more we have to expand. So that's fantastic, right? So from here to here, I like to look at the body as like this is where we produce sound, right here. Now, a lot of us rely on our vocal cords, and that's great, and we can't produce sound without them. But a lot of times the issue that we have is that we rely way too heavily on this and we don't utilize what we have working down here. And a lot of times our pelvic floor, which is all the way down in the bottom in our groin area, like right above it, all of these muscles down here can help aid us in bigger lung capacity and function. So what I like to do is I like to first focus on from here to here where we use these muscles, we tighten these muscles to come in and up and support that breath. Now, does that really happen? Like, does our breath go all the way down here? Not really, but I like to visualize it that way. So what I'd like for all of you to do right now, whoever's watching and feels like it, I want you to take 3 of your fingers and where your rib cage meets, this is your sternum, where the rib cage meets the sternum, if it did, it does not, but if it did, there's a little divot right here, okay? Feel this spot right here, and this is your entryway into knowing whether you are breathing from down here or staying right here above the breath, well, above the lower breath is what I'm trying to say. So right here, 3 fingers, and I want everyone to take a quick inhalation with an open mouth, really fast. Okay, do we feel this guy popping out? Show of hands, anyone? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you just did, everybody could breathe regularly. I don't want anyone holding your breath and like fainting. But what you just did was you connected to your lower half of your body. That is, you know, your pelvic floor is coming in and up to support that really quick inhalation down. Okay. So what this technique does, the classically trained technique, is it enables you to utilize all of this stuff that we ignore completely. And you basically get, I mean, I don't have like the statistics or anything. I'm a singer, but you get almost twice as much breath as you would normally get. And it relaxes you. Everything relaxes. When you breathe deeply, everything in your body tends to relax. So anywhere where you're holding pain immediately relaxes. Anywhere where you can bring attention to that spot where it hurts, you can take a deep breath in, a quick inhalation through the open mouth. I mean, that's just fast, 2 seconds. You can do that and feel a little slight relief in wherever you're focusing. So you find your spot right here. This is your entryway into it. You take your deep inhalation in and you hold, and that's your stretch here, and you release. So if I were teaching you, which I sort of am now, I would say to practice this as many times during the day as you can. And you can also do this while you're talking to people. So if I was in a conversation with you, which I am right now, I can either be in a supported breath conversation, which I'm not, but now I will be. I'm holding this out. This is not collapsing, and I'm speaking to you right now. And all I'm doing is holding the breath in and speaking to you normally. Now, if I take another breath, all I do is expand this even more and speak to you on it. Now watch my finger as I stop using the supported breath. Did everyone see that go in?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'd like for everyone to do right now, and you can mute yourself or talk out loud, it doesn't matter to me. Take a deep breath in and hold that breath in from here to here. Hold, and then speak normally while holding this breath in.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Right. Okay. You can release. Did anyone feel a discomfort doing that?
No.
No. That is supported breath. When you breathe that way during the day and when you speak that way, and I do this sometimes, but if I don't have time to warm up before I sing, I will hold and speak on a supported breath and no one even knows I'm doing it. No one can tell. And I'm still holding this out. It is just what it's doing is it's tightening the diaphragm and it's expanding. These are exercises that you can do consistently throughout the day. Now, your body is going to become fatigued from this. This isn't something that like we're used to. So since that's the case, you would want to take a break. You don't have to do it 100,000 times a day. You don't have to do it all day long, but every so often practice the tightness here, the entryway here. Now, what I want for you guys to do is you've done this already, but what I want for you to do now is I'm going to play a note on the keyboard, okay? And I want for you to hold that breath in and just articulate the sound. That's all I want. It's going to be a sound. It's not going to be don't think of it as singing. Don't think of it as a note. Don't think of it as it has to be perfect or it has to come from a place where, Pavarotti would sing. Just do the best you can. Now, if your breathing doesn't go all the way down here all the time, that's fine too. Be where you're at and be okay where you're at. It's fine. It's just any little bit helps and the allowance of it will help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a note. Okay, so this is a middle C. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to take a deep breath in, hold, and go. Ooh. Come into the note with a sort of like you're holding your breath and it's kind of sound like a monkey, like ooh, 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 ooh. Okay? But that is your vocal entryway into this spot right here to keep your air down here as long as you can. Okay? So, quick inhalation through the mouth, holding this out. Ooh. Ooh. Great. Fantastic. Breath out. Are you starting to understand your body connection to this breath?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Are there any questions out there?
Mm-mm.
Not so far? Great.
That's all.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so we just connected our open breath to a note. Okay, so right now the goal is every time you sing, we express air out, right? So I'm even when I talk, anytime I communicate like this, the air is coming out. So the point to singing is not to expel as much air as you possibly can. It's actually the antithesis of that. Singing is about keeping all of the air on the inside of yourself for as long as you can, because we are essentially our own amplifiers. Okay, so I like to look at this area, our torso area, as this, okay, our speaker. So the more we keep the air in, the more room we're making for resonance of air to make a sound. That's the way I look at it. Now, are you seriously doing that? No. In my mind's eye though, I'd like to think all of these, all of my organs are being pushed all the way out this way to make a hollow sound on the inside of myself. And all of like everything that's on the inside of me is being pushed out to make a hollow space for sound to resonate. That's the way I like to visualize it internally. So from here to here is where we produce sound. But what about this to this, right? So a lot of times we expel air, and a lot of times it gets caught up in from our neck all the way up to our head. And even in our arms, we can hold tension and a lot of blockage to the air being released and expelled. So a lot of times I like to think of it, and of course I don't have it with me right now, but as a tube. I like to think that we have a tube going from the top of our head in our midline of our body, not right here, but in the midline, going all the way down to the bottom of our pelvic floor. And my job as a singer isn't to manipulate as much as to get out of my own way. So I get all of everything that's on the inside of me out of the way so that I can resonate air on the inside of myself. And a lot of times from here to here, we have muscles in our face, and the biggest culprit is our tongue, that would like to inhibit that airflow that comes out of ourselves. So if we're producing air from here to here, from here to here is where a lot of times, and I don't fault those muscles, because those muscles want to help. That's the way I look at it. I always talk to my body like that. I'm like, okay, look, tongue, I appreciate your wanting to get involved and to help here, but honestly, we need to retrain you. So a lot of times I stick the tongue out as far as I possibly can to retrain the back of the palate to express more space for the air to come out. Okay, and so here's our second set of exercises that I'd like to show you today. So the verticality in the back of the palate is really important to allowing the air to come out uninhibited. So I like for all of you to stick your tongue out as far as you possibly can. And if you can't do it and if it's uncomfortable, that's okay too. But stick out your tongue and take 2 fingers and put them on your lips, because your lips also like to get involved and block air. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a deep breath in, all the way as low as you can get. Like that. Take your deep breath in. Everybody doing it? Great. You can release. Can someone tell me, where did you feel the air going in the inside of you? Where did you feel it the most?
Where your 3 fingers are.
Right here?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Did anyone feel it in their back?
No.
Okay,
I don't
I'd
think so.
like everybody to try this once again. Now, the back is a more subtle place to feel air, okay? But a lot of times when we breathe, we forget about that the back is just as important as our front because that creates symmetry in the body. And so I'd like for everybody, and this might take some time for you to feel your back. Okay. You might not feel it today. You might not feel it in 2 weeks, in a month. But the more you do this, the more you will become aware of where you're putting your breath and aware of what you're feeling on the inside of your body. Because I always tell my students 95% of singing is feeling. It's not as much listening. That's a part of it. But feeling where you're placing your breath on the inside is imperative. Okay, so let's do this once again. We're going to take our deep breath in on an open, long mouth. Our tongue is going to come as far out as we possibly, if we could drag it to the floor, we would. Okay, so take your deep breath in and feel your back right here, if you can. And hold for 3 seconds and then release. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel your back expand slightly?
Lower back. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay, that's fantastic. This is where I'd like for you guys to focus. If you can focus on if you do these exercises and you can focus on your lower back, that expansion is going to help not only your front, but your back. It's going to help you expand symmetrically, so it's the same on both sides and you get that wonderful internal stretch. Okay. So once again, are you going to do this at the grocery store? I do. I go up, I'm at Trader Joe's going, I don't care. Okay. I'll do this in front of anybody, but you don't have to. You could do this in the privacy of your own home. You could do this wherever you need to do it, but this will help release the back of your neck, the top of your shoulder area, your scapula area, and your clavicles right here, everything. It just releases the throat. And you know what else? I have found that if I have a sore throat or if I have a cold, this next set of exercises can help too. So this is a little unusual, not speaking with your lips, but has anyone here tried to be a ventriloquist? Probably not. Have you Have you tried it before?
Just goofing around.
Just goofing around. I know. I have tried to. Okay. So what I realized is they speak from back here. They speak from their palate. So if they just basically pretend that they don't have a front of the face and the back of their palate is where they produce the sound. Okay. So what I want for you all to try is we're going to take our deep breath down again with our lips not being in use. And we're going to say "oh" without moving your lips. And we're going to say "ah" without moving your lips. So I'll show you how to do it. We're going to try to utilize just back here, the back of your palate. All the way back there, okay? Not your lips, not your jaw. Nothing else moves here on your face, just the back of the palate. So we're going to lift our lips and say "oh" and "ah" without moving them.
Okay.
Oh.
Ah.
Oh.
Ah.
Yes. Now it's goofball looking, isn't it? I mean, it really is. So a lot of times when people come and sing with me, they're so mortified. I mean, they're like, what are you making me do? You're crazy. Yes, I am, but that's not why I'm crazy. There's other reasons. So this is going to help you release. It's going to help stretch vertically. It's going to help you stretch a little bit horizontally. When you say "oh," it stretches it vertically in the back of the palate. When you say "ah," it releases back a little bit. So it's basically pretending like you don't have a face and you're just one big pipe. If anybody's ever played an organ or seen an organ being played, a pipe organ, there's lots of pipes with slits for the hole. That's the way I like to view us, where we have one pipe, like I said before, and the sound is coming from back here, so we don't have to rely so heavily on the things that like to block the sound. So from here to here, oh ah, oh ah, oh ah, without moving your lips, will help you stretch the back of the palate and connect all the way down here a lot easier. Okay? So that's another exercise that you guys can try. Let me think of I think like I'll have like one last one that I'd like for you to try. And it's basically once you stretch. So the first few exercises I showed you were just all about creating more energy around using your muscles to kind of off balance using just your throat. Because a lot of times when we speak, and if we're not using all of our breath, the vocal cords start rubbing. They're very fragile. They're like these two tiny little strands, and they're rubbing and rubbing and rubbing against each other if we're yelling or screaming from here up. But if they have the support of the bottom, pelvic floor, it kind of offshoots all of that. Now, does it replace vocal rest? Absolutely not. Vocal rest, there is no like surefire way for you to say this technique is a catch-all. It's going to do everything for you. It's not. It's just a way to balance out your body enough so that you're not overusing or relying too heavily on one tiny little part of your body. That's how you develop vocal nodes and all kinds of stuff. And when you have issues breathing or even speaking, a lot of times that will, come from too much reliance on the vocal cords, as opposed to taking your breath in. And now I'm speaking with my entire body and you can't even tell. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the very last set of exercises that I want to show you is connecting, moving the air. So the first two sets kind of were your heavy lifting sets. That's the sets of exercises where, okay, I'm moving all sorts of muscles that I'm not used to moving. The third set is just to, once you have opened these channels, basically, now we're going to practice moving air. You move air. So you can do this. I would suggest if you're having a rough pain day to do it on an H sound. And if you are having a little better day where you feel like you want to challenge yourself a little bit, you will do it on a no H sound. I will show you both. So this is a fifth right here. So I'll have you go. Ah. It's a slide up and a slide down. Yes. So we're going to take our deep breath in. Once again, hold. Ah. Yes. Hold down. Pull. Feel like the tightness is pulling. You're pulling from right here. Ah.
I scare cats.
You can try. It's okay. Or whoa. Okay. So you can use this just a little bit or do it on an H. Whoa.
Whoa.
Yes. Do you feel a difference in your vocal tone as opposed to just doing it from here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you experiencing? How does it feel?
I don't know. It just feels good.
Feels good. I love that.
I'm used to doing this. So yeah.
Yes, of course. Well, who is? This is crazy.
Yeah.
The things I'm asking you to do, it's not like everybody does it every day. It's different. But what it's hopefully doing, because I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. But for me, when I do it, it feels supported. Mm-hmm. It feels stronger. It feels like I can talk more for longer. That kind of thing. So it is absolutely, a wonderful thing to continue to try to do this for as long as you guys possibly can, anytime you want to. And hopefully, since this is being recorded, is this something that you guys can go back to and watch? I'm not sure. I don't know how this works, but anyway.
Yeah, we'll be able to share the video. Yes.
Great. Okay, that's great. These are just very rudimentary things to connect you to have there, because you have we all have a mind-body connection. And a lot of times it's about rebuilding trust with our bodies, because a lot of times I have noticed that, my body kind of rejects things that it's not used to, and because it doesn't know why or what you're doing. And I know that sounds a little maybe different for a lot of people, but I have noticed that when I redo things, repractice things over and over and over again, my body becomes more relaxed around doing it. And the more relaxed my body becomes, the more trusting it is. And then it will go there. So if you're not experiencing like relaxation or these results that I'm showing you immediately, that's okay, because sometimes it takes a while for your body to adjust to a new practice. It's just over and over, the repetitive doing, in the doing, your body's going to release more and more resistance to that. And it'll start to feel a lot better. And when you're feeling fatigued, when you're feeling pain, when you're feeling like you're not, doing the best you can possibly be, you can use this. Just take your deep breath down, open mouth, quick inhalation, hold, release. And then start taking deep breaths from all the way down to your pelvic floor. You start relaxing, you start belly breathing, you start releasing all of your tension and anxiety. And that will absolutely help you in your daily life. So I hope this has helped. Because anything else I would have to work with you individually on, because everyone produces sound differently and everybody's anatomy is basically the same, but we all breathe differently and we all speak and produce sound differently. So I just wanted to show you that there are ways, to increase and benefit your health immensely just by your relaxation and utilizing what you have. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Sound good?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
This was really interesting and fun, Carrie. Thank you. Thank you for giving so generously of your time.
Of course. Thank you. And if you guys have any questions, if any of you, please, by all means.
Yeah. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
A couple of symptoms of scleroderma are, and I know I have them, and maybe some of the other folks on the call has them as well, is dry mouth, as well as the fact that scleroderma has caused my mouth to tighten. Mm-hmm. So my mouth is much smaller than it used to be.
Okay.
So, for example, doing the exercise where we're sticking out our our tongue, even doing lifting the lip, felt strange. It felt tight, and also when I did that, my mouth got even smaller. So I'm just wondering if those two symptoms will interfere with the success of the exercises that we're doing.
No, I'm really glad you brought that up. So like I said, different people have different ways of producing sound, correct? So if that is the case that you are finding, and you're finding that the stretch is overwhelming to you, I want you to massage, release, massage. Does this hurt if you massage here down your jawline.
No, it doesn't hurt. No.
It doesn't. Good. Okay. Now, after you've released and relaxed a little bit, open. Does that hurt?
No.
Okay. I want you guys to practice that way, because it's not about this here. It's really all it is about relaxing this and getting it up and out of the way. So any way that you can do that, without feeling discomfort, without feeling like, okay, now this is getting worse instead of better. This is what I was discussing when I was talking about developing a trust with your own body. You know, anything that you can do to relax yourself in this case is going to be beneficial. So relaxing, massaging, relaxing all up and down your muscles here, like your sinus area, all the way down here, your nodes area right up here, all along your jawline from right here, all the way up. Relax, relax, relax. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue if you can. Breathe in through an open mouth. Try that. After you relaxed it, try sucking air through an open mouth on ah.
Oh.
Breathe in. How does that feel?
Good.
Better? Great. Okay. Then that is what I'd like this group to do. If the other is too uncomfortable for you, then make sure that we get all of these muscles relaxed enough so that the point is not this here, but the point is to get to the back of the palate and release with an open mouth, release with an open ah sound. Because when we say ah and we open our mouth and suck inside of our body, we get the same benefit. This is popped out. Try that. Better? Are we getting there better?
It's better.
Right. Okay, then that is what we do. Always adjust. Because there is no one right way. That's why there's so many singers out there in general. There's countless singers, and we don't all train the same way. So in order for you to get your the absolute optimal benefit, you want to not, if something is uncomfortable, nix it. Don't do it. Don't do it. If something hurts, if it's uncomfortable, if you're finding that's why I'm so glad that you guys told me that, because then we find an alternate way to get to that same result.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. It looks like we have another question from Beth.
Great.
Hi. I just wanted to, by the way, this is all very interesting and I think it'll be really helpful. And I think, it seems to me that there's some overlap between the singing exercises that you're teaching and pulmonary rehab.
Really?
Because I know that they teach similar exercises for maximizing your breath and, and accessing all the muscles and, all the parts of your breathing apparatus, not just up here, but, and, I haven't gone through the whole pulmonary rehab, but I did have one session of pulmonary education with a respiratory therapist at the Cleveland Clinic. And she taught me, about pursed lip breathing, which is an example of they have you, take in a deep breath. Like if you're feeling short of breath, you can take in a deep breath and then purse your lips and breathe the air out slowly. And that way you keep the oxygen in your lungs longer to, provide oxygen to your bloodstream, rather than just the way you normally breathe. It's just in and out and it's gone. So it's a way of holding more oxygen in your lungs and giving your lungs more time to process the oxygen.
I love that.
You just kind of purse your lips just so that the air comes out slower. And so that's just an example of one thing that she taught me.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with me. I love that.
And And I
Yes.
was just going to say that if anyone felt this was helpful, you really might want to explore pulmonary rehab. And I know you can do it in person. You have to go like 2 or 3 days a week for a few hours to like a therapy location, usually at a hospital. It's usually part of their like physical and occupational therapy center. Or there are now online pulmonary rehab, sites. And in fact, my doctors at Cleveland Clinic, they gave me a link for an online pulmonary rehab, and I'll have to look it up and I can share it with Desiree and Merrill,
I would
and
love
so
to
that
see that.
can provide it. Yeah.
Thank you.
But
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
I think
Thanks,
it's
Beth.
all similar concepts.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's what, I'm not a trained medical professional, but at the same time, I was absolutely seeing a link to to just overall health. And I was
Mhm.
like, I was very curious about that. And so I decided to go visit hospitals. I went and University of Chicago here. I met with their vocal surgeon, and then I met with their pathology team, and talked to them about this because I was trying to figure out how can I bridge the gap between just functioning and optimal breath, for
Mm.
people who have just had surgery, or if people, who had vocal issues who want to strengthen. And so, a lot of times the hospitals are extremely overwhelmed, and they have to take,
Yeah.
they have to take the most severe cases first. And a lot of times the people who are, just going for, for whatever reason that aren't, extremely emergency, an emergency situation, kind of fall through the cracks. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I can volunteer myself in any way, shape, or form, I would do that. At that time, though, it was during COVID. It was during the time where it was really hard for them to get permission for me to get into the hospital in general.
Mm.
I did, though, meet with another pathologist at University of Illinois at Chicago, different hospital. And I still have to go through like a battery of crazy amounts of shots and things like that to get in.
Mm.
But this is something that I was like, there's got to be some link to helping more people breathe properly. And it's like, we're never taught this. So thank you so much for saying that, because that is sort of what you just explained about the pursed lips, and the releasing is a more gentler way to get into stretching the lungs, as opposed to what I'm doing is take your deep breath in, hold, and expel. So it's a gentler way to do it, which I think is it's fantastic. And I would love to read up on that. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
And I think if you're going to, try to interact with these hospitals, maybe try to contact the pulmonary rehab departments and talk to a respiratory therapist in that
Yes.
department. And I bet you'd have a lot of connections. And I mean, it's so logical that singing would help people with lung difficulties,
Mhm.
that you would think that somebody has already established, a program, but maybe not. I don't know. I've never really heard of it.
Yeah.
Like, how I know there's music therapy, but it's usually for mental health. It's just like enjoying music. It's not, I mean, I guess it would be more like singing therapy. Um, but it could be fantastic.
Yes, I agree. And that's what I was trying to do. But unbeknownst to me, the pulmonary is probably, I think you're right. I think it's probably a better way to go. I was just thinking for vocal health as well. But you're right.
Yeah.
The breathing is where it really is at. It's where it's all about. Now, have any of you received from the hospital these spirometers? that breathing apparatus that helps you practice
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I would suggest using that during the week if you don't. Because I have Lisa doing it as well. It helps, but instead of breathing out, you can do both. You can breathe out, and as long as you can breathe out, that little ball or whatever, that little marker, how it floats, and then you mark your best time or, your best amount of time or whatever, and then maybe keep a little journal about it. I would also focus heavily if you can. It's a little bit more challenging, but sucking in for as long as you can and keeping that little marker up. So sucking in using that spirometer, same deal. It connects you right here. This is your passageway from where your rib cage would meet your sternum, right there. And you'll know whether you're using your full capacity of breath or not. So absolutely use that. I need to get one myself. I had one a long, long time ago, and of course it's gone. I don't know where it is, so I'm going to have to find it. But it's a great way to also strengthen on the inside out.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah, and I bet all of us here have had pulmonary function tests where you go in this booth and you breathe into a tube, and it just that also just reminds me a lot of what you're showing us to do, because there are these different tests. Like one of them you pant, and the other is you like taking a deep breath and then you blow it out as fast as you can, and so I just think that, what you're doing definitely has relevance for us who have either pulmonary fibrosis or pulmonary hypertension or both.
I'm so happy that you told me this. Thank you so much for sharing, because any little bit helps. I'm always learning. I'm still learning everything myself, and so if I can learn more and then implement, I think that's great. So thank you. I'm going to look into it.
And please stay in touch with Desi and Meryl and let us know if you're able to, work with these pulmonary rehab departments. We'd love to know and hear about it.
Thank you.
And I would just think it would be so much more fun to do the exercises if you're like singing, instead of just like.
You know what? It's true. But what I just showed you today, since you were able to match this note with the breath, like I said, a lot of times it's just about putting it inside your body. I've worked with a lot of people who have a hard time matching pitch, and it's just a matter of air movement. It really isn't a matter of it's you can hear it. If you can hear it, it helps. Absolutely. But I have had people who couldn't match pitch just from the amount of air that they're moving inside their body.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really just about making space and connecting on the inside. And the more you can do that, and the easier it is for you to your body starts to acclimate to the new way of doing things. It just takes some time and persistence, that's all. So, and yeah, singing, you can do it. We just did it today. That one note that I had you do, if you consistently hold and stay in there, I can start singing right now if I felt like it, because it's open, right? And I'm connecting to this, and I didn't let it collapse. That's it. That's singing. That's all singing is keeping your air on the inside and moving it up and down with the amount of compression, which is that tight feeling that you feel. So it's a ratio of compression to air, and that is it. Compression to air. And that's the kinds of sounds that you will get from that. If you're an opera singer, you're going to probably be doing like 100% compression to 100% air. It's just your entire torso is blown out for that. But if you're singing different other kind of genres of music, it's a matter of ratio of compression to air. Everybody can sing any genre of music. So that's like further along in the practice. But
I just did a search on pulmonary rehab and singing, and there has been some work done on it. People have tried it. So, if you just Google that, pulmonary rehab and singing, you'll find, articles, where they've tried it in, pulmonary rehab centers.
I can't wait. I will absolutely look that up. And I just think I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I'm like, where do I go? Where do I, but this is good.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that big time. I'm always up to learn more. Yeah. So ladies, you're going to have to keep me posted on your doings. Okay. I want to know that, you're trying to practice this and if this helps or not. Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Before Carrie goes, were there any other questions or comments from anyone? Anyone want to try out their singing or? Okay. All right.
I don't see any hands up for that.
I know.
No, I think you did a great job. We'd love to hear you sing, but we won't put you on the spot. But thank you so much for this. It was really interesting. And I'm sure the other members of the group who could not attend will enjoy the recorded portion. So thank you. Have a happy Easter.
Thank you. And to you as well, everybody who celebrates, and take good care. And I hope to meet with you guys again.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Carrie.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Stay on, everybody.